Thank you so much for being here. So Julia is a Perth-based Austrian-born artist who creates large-scale immersive paintings in which elements from nature evoke echoes of internal landscapes, thoughts, and emotions, in the process guided by intuition. She develops abstract paintings that combines influence from Greek mythology, ancient philosophy, art, and history of her own, including internal stimuli. In this episode, we're going to talk about the inspiration behind her work, her creative process, and the meanings behind her work. And we're here at Unfolding, which is currently on display at KAMILŽ Gallery. So, Julie, can you talk about Unfolding and the meanings behind the exhibition and the works?
Sure. So, Unfolding, I gave this exhibition a name in the middle of the process because I could see where I started with what kind of inspiration and headspace I started. And as I got the opportunity to work towards a larger amount of, like a larger scale of works, I could dive in and just really explore more, and that's it, like unfolding, like removing layers of myself and seeing what has actually already been within me, and through painting I could bring it outside. And that's why in this exhibition you can see a variety of works. Like there's more the signature style, which I'm really confident with, and I know exactly what's happening. I'm confident with my color scale, color palette, and shapes, where then I've delved into more color and experienced it. And I felt painting with color had such a therapeutic effect on me. You know, it's color. When you study it, I could really see what positive, also kind of, it can also have maybe a little bit of negative effects depending on how you use it. So that has been something really new to me, using colors, but I enjoyed it. And then people reacted in a really, really positive way. They were like, "Oh, that's evoking emotion in me," and I'm like, "Yeah, it did for me too." When I painted it, and I had it straight in front of me. You know, it's like the immediate effect. It's incredible. So yeah, it was a journey of really unleashing and unfolding of what's within me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's the big picture of this exhibition.
Yeah. So I guess that's one of the beautiful things about art, is it kind of connects us as humans. Like if we see one sort of color, we're kind of connected by the emotional response that we get from the color. Did you have a specific idea in mind what you wanted your works to look like, or is it just kind of, it's that theme of unfolding again, where you're just painting and you're kind of seeing where it goes and you don't have an idea in mind and it just kind of goes wherever it goes? It has a sort of life of its own.
That's an interesting question. I must say it goes, I have both. I experienced both. So usually I start with like a blur picture in my mind, what it will look like in composition and color. And then when you get into the zone and you start painting the piece, and it kind of like with each layer you put on, you can remove the fog a little bit, and you can see clearer, and it's like, yeah, that works. And then you realize, it needs more of this, more of that, and then you edit, and it's a constant conversation on the canvas. So usually, I start with a vision, but sometimes you go to the studio and you just have to paint. You know, you just follow your intuition, and if you feel like a certain color, you grab that today and you just start with something. You know, like just something what sparks in you and makes you wanna create something. So that's why I have tried some different pieces as well, where I was like, no, there's no step, I don't know yet what I'm gonna do. I just go for it. Yeah.
So some of them you do have a somewhat of an idea of what you want to create visually.
Yeah.
But then also you're kind of seeing where it goes in a way, and then some it's just completely expression, and you don't know where it goes.
Yeah.
Which
is daunting because you're like, oh, every time you do something new, you're like, am I doing it right or wrong? Mm-hmm. And where does it go? Because you have no idea where the end is. So I think, it's with everything, learning something new, you have to just pull yourself together and see how you feel. Yeah, and if it feels right, continue, and if it really something wrong, maybe let someone else do that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think on the theme of unfolding, I see this relationship between human beings and art because as humans we have so many layers to us, like emotionally and then physically, and like who we are, like what makes us who we are and our story. And then art as well, you have layers of meaning, like you have these different pieces and you put them together and it creates like a final piece of art. So within your work, are there different pieces? We could even talk possibly about this one specifically, the pieces, and then does each piece mean something specifically?
Yeah, so with this in particular, actually, there's the meaning, the name of it is evolution. Mm-hmm. So with that, I've tried to combine the traditional painting, which I'm passionate about too, with abstract artworks. So here you can clearly see it's a man who was a child, and in my head I was going through he one day will pass away and his son will give birth to another one. So it's like this constant evolution and rebirth, where the shapes are more a really abstract way of telling this story, like from generations giving past, and then like smaller symbols. You have the constant circle, and it's never ending. So I'm always trying to like draw the line to specific places, and then you can create your own story with it. Mm-hmm. And when you look at other pieces, I try to create this balance with specific symbols and writings, just like little hints of mind food. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, I do see a theme of sort of these shapes, kind of circular shapes. Is that kind of to do with the circle of life, as you were saying, with the father and the son there? Something like that?
Somehow it always appears in...
You don't know why?
Yeah, it's just, it comes, it's like, it sounds... when round shapes come easy to me. When I have to paint anything square, it's like too many edges. So the round, it just appears, and I think it's maybe underlying when I think about it more. It's this constant. It's like every day, everything has a start and an end, but it begins again. It's never a complete end. So I think that's why I'm really drawn to circular shapes.
Yeah. Okay. And then you have kind of some other works with like a lot of repetition.
Yes.
To that shape. Is that kind of like, would you say that's a more refined idea compared to this one, which might have like more variety to because you've got different shapes and textures, and then this actual image of the man and his son, or the statue?
Yeah, so with these pieces in mind, I must say I have a passion for interior design too. So like for curating. And when I create pieces, the repetition, it's something easing to the eye, but it still has an impact. And I can see these works in combination with like beautifully shaped furniture and accessories, and I like to see this whole, you know. So they speak for itself, but they can also work with other pieces.
Yeah. Have you explored using this shape in it? Am I right in saying it's almost like a signature shape to your style of work?
Yes, yeah, I think so. It's even now I like there's this one piece over there where I specifically draw this shape again and again. But when I look back at other pieces, like older pieces, I can see the shape in there, just on a like smaller scale.
So like subconsciously you might be
Yes,
drawing
it's
it. Okay,
it's just
interesting.
there.
Oh, wow. How long has it taken you to sort of develop this style? Because I think as an artist or a creative person,
Yeah.
to kind of find that style, it's taken a while. Was it something you were exploring in early stages, or it's like it was a gradual process to find this sort of style and the use of the distortion in the circle?
I think over the last 2 years, it was refining. Um, it came quite instant, and then I shared it, and it's quite. It was a vulnerable state because you share something which just comes really natural from you, and you're not knowing like how people would react to that. And then I got good response, so I felt more free to reproduce this, like to find different compositions, and somehow people still like it. So
Okay.
I'm like, I feel really really great because it's something so pure, and I'm able to share it, and people appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's again, it's that connection of art with the viewer, and it's had
Yeah.
that relationship that you have when you create something, and it can mean something, and then the kind of visual communication to the audience. It's something that kind of connects us as human beings. Like, oh, do you see that? Do you feel that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really cool. And
It has been here at the we had the opening. People were standing there, and even now during the week, people standing and reading, like, what does that mean? And then they come to me, and before they ask me what I made, like what my intention was, they tell me their story towards it. So I love listening to them to see what their instant reaction is to it. So yeah, you can't see that anymore. So it's
oh
gone.
yeah, I'll
Yeah.
I've got a link here if you guys want to check it out. Because we're live on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook. So if you guys want to check out this link while you're watching, you can do that. And I wanted to ask about your relationship with aesthetics and your own work, because I find as artists, you can be sort of in your own world and create something for yourself, but then when you have an audience, it's like a different story. So what's your relationship with getting kind of feedback from sort of the outside world, the audience, and your own work?
Yeah, it's always it can be a tricky one, but because I work close with my client, so on commission pieces. So they already know my style and what I do, and then they approach me, and I meet them, and we work together on the piece. So I think that's the working on commission. It's the most important thing to understand what someone feels and wants in their home, and it's a personal thing. So really, the aesthetics will come once you understand.
So these Are these pieces as part of the unfolding exhibition? So these aren't like climbing walls, or some of them are.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's why you can actually see differences. Like these pieces were already from before the exhibition, and the other ones I could be free, and they might be an expression of over the last few years what I wanted to paint, but I never did because I always worked towards a brief. Where these ones are, well, the only brief was this exhibition, and I knew the building, which is one of my favorites here in Perth. So,
So were they specifically made for this exhibition, or it's kind of like you piece them together in a way, or some of them?
so most of the works are specifically for the exhibition, but I just let all this inspiration, what I've had over the last years, put out there. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And did you kind of have that idea of unfolding prior to having the exhibition, or did you kind of like, because sometimes you don't even think about your work specifically, you don't even think about the broader idea, but was that concept of unfolding something you came up with like prior to the exhibition, or you kind of pieced it together for this exhibition at KAMILŽ Gallery?
I think it came halfway, and this was like the more of the. It was really freeing in a way because it gave me the freedom of something different, not just everything has to be the same. I was like, I have so many interests, and when I look what's going on in my head and my soul, it's always changing, right? So with the unfolding, I gave myself permission to create various pieces, and that's why we have like these here, and then in that room there's color, and in the other room there is absolutely just like simplicity.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and there's it's interesting how abstract it is, but I can get that feeling of nature from it. We got the champagne in the background. For me, these colors, it's kind of very like warm, comforting colors.
yes, yeah.
So it almost reminds me of maybe being on like a farm or something like this because of the hay, the warmth of the hay, or like a barn or something like this.
It's interesting you say that because these shapes are actually from down south in the Parangaraks.
Yeah.
And we love down south.
Yeah.
It's like this farm life, and we like going to the wineries, and this stone formation is the Parangaraks when you go to the skywalk. So it's taken from nature.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. And what's been your idea behind the use of space? Because there's a lot of use of space in these works.
The use of space is composition. So balancing the shapes, and every time you add something, it has a reaction. So it's a balancing act when you paint, and achieving this level of aesthetics is always in my mind, because if it's not going to be there, I'm not going to be happy. Yeah, it's trying, like the old ancient in Italy in the Renaissance, they try to figure out the formula for beauty, and with composition, you get there. It's like a ratio of it. For me, I don't do maths to do it, and just trying to feel it.
Yeah, like the Fibonacci.
Yes,
sequence.
for example.
Yeah. Okay, and that relates to the circles and.
Yes, it's actually, it's all like
found in nature everywhere. Hey.
Yes.
Yeah.
There are incredible studies done like 300 years ago.
Yeah, with everything, like your eye, your hands, like
Yes.
it's a fascinating mathematical equation.
It is.
Yeah.
They really, really made it back to the point. Like
Yeah.
they made a study and laid out, like they were drawing lines where you have to put what to in order to look good in a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't do that, but when you then would lay say an imaginary grid over it, it would make sense, I think. Yeah. But I've tried to do it with intuition, not with maths.
Okay, and my sort of last question is to do with the colors specifically. So
Yeah.
why have you kind of gone with these sort of, this is like a warm brown and then this sort of cream color, like it's kind of like, yeah, very warm, relaxing colors.
Yeah, because I'm just really drawn to it, and even the way I dress and everything, I'm drawn to have these colors, and maybe that's by knowing they're comforting and come naturally to me, I can naturally use them in a good composition. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Julie, for joining me
you.
for the conversation. It was amazing to find out about you and your work and everything like that. So I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for the questions.
Where can people find you and follow your work and everything like that?
The best way is to go on Instagram, Julia Freiseisen. And I have a website too, which is Voyage Studio, VOJAGE, Voyage. But yeah, Instagram is always best.
Awesome, thank you.
Yes, thank you.